Hey, welcome back to today's video. This is the same stainless samurai hunting knife we were working on before. I did go back and grind a little bit more off it just to get rid of those few spots of stainless that were on the edge. I had to get rid of those because they would ultimately affect the performance of the knife. So I went ahead, finished hand sanding this out. Now I'm going to take it, etch it to get the desired finish, and then I can go cut my shoulders, grind my tang, and begin fitting up the guard. Alright, I got the knife all cleaned up, so we're going to go into the ferric chloride. Ferric chloride will oxidize, it'll eat away at the carbon steel, but it won't really affect the stainless as much. That should be enough for just a quick test etch. I want to take a look at it just to make sure that it's not etching unevenly. It looks to be pretty good, so we'll stick it back in there. Let it sit for maybe 5-10 minutes, come take a look at it. Alrighty, so I got the blade all etched up. It's looking pretty good. As before, one side's a little better than the other, but that's just how it goes sometimes. I think it looks pretty good. So now I'm going to take my file guide, put it on, and we're going to go grind in our shoulders and our tang. Alright, I'm just using my height gauge to describe a center line down this piece of bronze. That way I can just have a nice reference line right down the middle. And then I can use a carbide scribe to mark out the tang on there. So that'll tell us where our slot needs to be in this piece so it can become the guard for this knife. So I went ahead and super glued together these spacers, or temporarily super glued them together. So I've got marked out the dimensions for the tang here. I've just got the drill bit I'm going to use, and I'm going to mark out where I need to put some center punch marks. Pop those marks in there. Take it to the drill press. Drill it out. Got my 3 holes. Got my drill bit. Should be able to just knock this out. There we go. Nice hole in there. Now I got this nice block of stabilized walnut, and we've got to fit that up before we can bed our tang. I'm going to take my scribe and just trace out the tang. Okay, so now I've got the profile of the tang on the block. I can carry these lines over across the face of the block. Height is 1.26-ish. So going down to there. Scribe a line across from both sides that gives 2 lines that are very close together, so I know exactly where the middle of this is. So now I'm going to go figure out what size drill bit I'm going to use and then center punch some holes so I can go get this tang slot drilled. Alright, I've got this drill bit. I don't know exactly what size it is. It's just a little bit bigger than my tang. And then I can take a center punch, give myself some nice starting holes. Okay, so now we're at the drill press, and I've got my lines I drew around the tang. So I can get the drill bit going down that same line. There we go. That's just about it. Yep. Now I can tighten this down, and now we can just drill our hole out. All right, now that I've got two holes going down, matching that angle of the tapered tang, I can go in and just kind of clear out the material between it. I mean, technically it's drill press abuse, but if it works, right? Doesn't quite fit all the way, but it's close. So I'm going to use my broach and just slowly make this hole a little bigger until it fits. There we go. And that's about it. All right, so now we're at the point of bedding the tang. So the idea is we're going to basically glue the knife up like we're gluing it up, except we're going to cover the tang in wax. That way, once the epoxy is set, we can just pull it out of the handle. We'll have a really nice tight fit between the blade and the handle, but we can take them apart to work them separately. All right, guard fits all nice and good. Go ahead and clamp up the vise, nice and tight. And now I've got my spacer stack. I got them all cleaned up. So now I'm just gonna start stacking these guys up. Like I was, basically doing everything like I was actually gluing it up. Except the tang's got wax on it. Now I can slap a clamp on there. They're all clamped up. So now I can just let the epoxy get mostly cured, and then I could actually pull the entire handle off the blade. Okay, so here's the end result of bedding the tang. We can have the block and the guard all on the blade like this, but we can still pull it apart. So like for now, I want to go shape this guard up. So I can go take it off the blade and give myself some layout lines. I already have a center line. Give myself like a nice curve where I'm going to grind it. I can go shape the guard, get that fitted up to the blade nice, and then I can start working on the handle in relation to that. And I can still take everything apart to finish everything separately, and it's just kind of rad. Alrighty, so we're here at the grinder with the work rest, and I'm just going to go ahead and grind to my line. Take it nice and slow. Grind to my line nice and evenly. Cool it off in some water. Back to the other side. Alright, so we're back at the granite plate here. I've got this, the height gauge, and I'm just scribing some reference lines around this handle. This is going to help so that I can make sure I take off an even amount of material on both sides and that the handle's actually straight with the blade. which is, pretty important. Now that the handle's profiled this way, I can use these reference lines to get my profile going this way. And then once I've got that, I can start, turning it from a square shape into an actual handle shape. Alright, so now I can give myself a few more layout lines. I've already got these lines here, but I'll also give myself lines this way for my contouring on my handle. So I'm going to work from this kind of square blank and first turn it into an octagon, or at least facet it, and then slowly start knocking off facets and start working it towards round, or I guess more of like an oval. So that'll be a comfortable handle and just kind of like a nice controlled way of making sure I've got a uniform shape. Alright, so we've got our handle now to like a faceted kind of octagonal shape. If you look at it like this, you can kind of see the overall shape of it so far. It does taper a little bit towards the front. That just helps with indexing and all that. So the next step is to go back to the grinder and take off all these hard edges, all these hard facets. So we're making more sides, and we're making it just one step closer to being fully, round and smooth. And then I could go to a finer belt on a slack platen and use that to just smooth and round everything out, and then also polish the handle and get it ready for hand sanding and finishing. Well, now I'm just hand sanding the handle up to, I think I'll go up to 1,000 grit, do a bunch of coats of oil, and then I'll buff it out. Okay, so now we are basically done. We just need to go ahead and sharpen the knife and then glue it up, or finally glue it up. So I've got some diamond stones, some nice diamond stones. This is a 300 grit. I won't have to do too much with it because I'm basically at an edge after blade grinding and hand sanding. But I'm going to start with 300, go until I get a burr that I can feel on the edge, and then I will go to a 600 and then a 1,000 grit diamond stone. There we go, 1,000 grit, nice burr. Now we can get out a strop and strop the blade to get a nice final edge. So this is a strop. It's basically just a board with a piece of leather on it, and it will polish the edge a little bit, but it'll also work that little burr back and forth until it falls off, and it'll leave you with an actually sharp edge. Hey, thanks for making it to the end of this video. I had a lot of fun making this knife, and well, I do generally like it. There's a few things I think I could have done better. I should have done a better job making sure I had an even pattern, even distortion on the Sanmai. It looks good and it's perfectly functional, but it could be better. I think it would look a lot better if maybe I didn't have this first thin bronze spacer, and it was guard, G10, bronze, G10, bronze, G10, but in like decreasing thicknesses, with the guard being the thickest, and then this one in the middle, and then that one. I think that would be more intentional. It'd look a little better. But that's just something to file away for later. The wood's really pretty. It's some kind of walnut burl, stabilized walnut burl. It did have a lot of voids in it that I had to fill with super glue. That's pretty standard with burl. It just tends to have voids in it. But it's a really pretty wood, and I like it a lot. I just wish maybe I didn't have to do so much void filling. Overall, this is a nice little hunter. It'll do a lot of work, and hopefully it'll last forever. And that's one of the things I try and do with my work. I want to make pieces that are not only good looking, but also are built to last for generations, ideally, if they're taken care of. That's one of the things that bugs me most. So many of the things that are made are not meant to last. In fact, so many things are meant to be replaceable and are meant to not last. When I make something, the idea is that hopefully it will be taken care of, and hopefully it will be passed down to somebody, and hopefully I can make a tool that will last lifetimes. There's way more stuff on Instagram, so if you're on Instagram, I'd much appreciate if you go follow me there, check it out. But thanks for being here, thanks for watching, keep making, be awesome, drink some coffee, peace out.